Results brought to you by Vail's title sponsor, Aberdeen Asset Management. And the men's varsity lightweight 8, Mercyhurst, the defending champions. They hold on to their title with a time of just over 6 minutes. Delaware takes second, Michigan third, St. Joe's in fourth, Marietta in fifth, and Purdue finishes sixth. Next up, the women's varsity lightweight 8 Division II race. And what a race we have on tap. Yes, this is a women's competition as well. Women taking center stage, or at least about to as we speak.
They're in the queue, Keith. They're ready to go. They're in the chute.
Now, Liz, as a former female rower, I know there's a great disparity and a lot of sports between men and women. But what would you say and how women's rowing compares to men's rowing?
Now, women's rowing and men's rowing get really great coverage for both. And women's rowing tends to be, a little bit slower time-wise than men, but they are just as fierce competitors. And it looks like they're off to a great start right here.
And lane 6, Florida Institute of Technology. Lane 5, Seattle Pacific. Lane 4, Grand Valley. Lane 3, Mercyhurst. The women just as strong as their male counterparts. And lane 2, Nova Southeastern. And lane 4, Barry 4.
Nova Southeastern out to a very strong start. They're in the lead, followed by Barry. Then it looks like Mercyhurst and Grand Valley.
It's interesting because Mercyhurst and Grand Valley are actually seated at the top of this race.
But again, we'll see. As Coach Tatey says, you can't win a race at the start, but you certainly can lose a race. We'll see how they bring the successful start and carry that over into the body of the race once they get through Strawberry Mansion Bridge, and as they move towards the St. Joe's University and St. Joe's Prep Boathouse.
Now, interesting because Grand Valley's coach, Dennis Cameron, actually came out of retirement after 8 years of retirement to coach this women's team from Grand Valley, and he lives away from campus. His 6 feet is actually a Rhodes Scholar nominee, which is an incredible thing to add on to an academic workload and an athletic workload.
In terms of the strategy, Jason, you talked about it earlier in our broadcast coverage, and we'll actually have an entire feature devoted to strategy. But what is the strategy? Because for many people at home, it's simply row as hard and as fast as you can, as long as you can.
Right, but you have to stay composed, and you have to row within the crew. Everyone's got to be on the same page. The impulse has to be the same, and the strategy is try to get the lead on the first stroke and increase your lead throughout the race. But some people are naturally fast starters, and others come on really strong at the end of the race, like we just saw with Delaware.
Yeah, we'll see if Nova Southeastern is going to kind of pull a same strategy move as Delaware with staying out there in the far side, and then will Mercyhurst respond again for the women?
Well, let's not discount Grand Valley and FIT. Florida Institute of Technology, Rose in Melbourne, and they've got water time all year long. And I can assure you that Grand Valley wasn't on the water all winter. This is a punishing winter.
Now, I had a chance to speak with Coach Keith Jefferson of Seattle Pacific yesterday, and they did not make the trip all the way from Seattle for this weekend of Dadville to come home empty-handed. So you know that those girls out there are pulling as hard as possible on their oars.
Right. Looks like they're battling right now for bronze medal position.
Women first started competing in the Aberdeen Dadville Regatta in 1976. And you are looking at some powerful women on the water today.
Very fit, very strong. This is a women's varsity 8 Division II final. These are the premier rowers of these programs. And look at the swing there. Look at the power in the middle of the boat there, the 5 seat, the 6 seat, pulling the oar in, pushing on their footboards. There are seats that slide, Keith, along tracks. That's why you're able to move up and down on the side. And at the bottom of the picture there's St. Joe's Prep and St. Joe's University Boathouse. That's the newest boathouse on the Kelly Drive.
When you say those seats slide, I'm going to slide from what you just said to Liz. What does that do to the body? What does that do to the human body for those who think this is just a sport where you just pull on that thing as hard as you can, and it's all arms and it's all triceps and biceps?
Well, we can see as the Nova Southeastern girls just made a move here. They are really working their entire bodies. It is not just an upper body sport in rowing. Your legs have to be so powerful and so well trained. This is a full body aerobic cardiovascular sport that is going to require every muscle, every ounce of energy and lung capacity to be tested throughout this entire race.
Just over halfway through the race, as you just saw, Grand Valley is in the lead in this one.
Now, looks like Nova Southeastern, followed by Mercyhurst, followed by Grand Valley. Grand Valley's definitely in for the medals, but I think Nova Southeastern out of lane 2 are still leading the pack, although as I say that, Mercyhurst is mounting a good charge. There's a great aerial shot. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a war down there. It is a battle. The coxswains are urging on the crews. Mercyhurst is pulling even, Keith.
Mercyhurst is pulling even. So, Liz,
they may even have a seat. They're moving. Look at that momentum. Their coxswain just made a call. All 8 rowers are committing to this. And I hate to say it, but Nova Southeastern may have gone out a little bit hard early.
Liz, what would that call have been?
Well, this is a race strategy move, Keith. This coxswain may have been comfortable being a little bit behind the lead boats, just like we saw with the last race with Mercyhurst and Delaware with the men's team. Now, this coxswain could have said, okay, we're going to hold back a little bit. We're going to make our move at the 1,000-meter mark, at the 1,500-meter mark, and that's when they call it and pull ahead.
So this is a little bait-and-catch strategy.
Exactly.
Sometimes do you bait your opponent?
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because last year's Nova Southeastern theme shirt, so the theme on the back of their shirt, their mantra was, you're either the shark or the bait. And in this case, they were the shark initially, but Mercyhurst, tremendously tenacious. And for the viewers at home, that wire there, those are numbers indicating lane. We're coming into the Peters Island stretch. There's 380 meters to go, about under a minute to go, and Mercyhurst continues to push away from Nova Southeastern. And as I say that, we've got a real barn burner on the outside, Seattle Pacific and FIT, and Grand Valley and Seattle Pacific challenging for that bronze medal position. They're actually pushing the leaders, Keith.
So the shark became the bait, and right now the shark is Mercyhurst.
Well, Nova Southeastern is going to have to try to make that push and get back in the game here. They're making a move. You can see their coxswain has made a call here, trying to get back in front of Mercyhurst.
So Mercyhurst clearly came to bring their A game to the Schuylkill today. The men winning the Varsity 8, lightweight Varsity 8, and now the women dominating in the Varsity heavyweight 8.
As Liz said, the Seattle Pacific team didn't come 2,600 miles for nothing. They just took over silver medal position. Grand Valley's trying to defend their spot. Here comes FIT. Nova Southeastern still trying to hang on. We've got a great, Nova Southeastern pushing away from Grand Valley. It's silver medal position.
We'll see Mercyhurst is still hanging on. It looks like they're bound, maybe the first to cross the finish line here.
And the bow, meaning the seat closest to the finish.
That is correct.
The Mercyhurst women get the job done, winning the women's Division II Varsity 8. The Mercyhurst women, Mercyhurst, it's all about Mercyhurst.
Success.
Pittsburgh. Okay, there's Barry on the screen. They're finishing off well. And that was a great race. This is another close one. It's exhausting being up here.
Seattle Pacific might have snuck in the outside through, but so far, can we complain about the first 2 races today?
This is great racing.
And we have more great races on the way. Don't you change that channel. Don't you go anywhere. More from the Aberdeen Dad Vail Regatta presented by Coca-Cola coming up.
The Aberdeen Dad Vail Regatta is presented by Coca-Cola. Open a Coke and enjoy the races.